At 75, Suzi Quattro reveals shocking truth about Happy Days. Suzi Quattro was born Susan K. Quattro on June 3, 1950 in Detroit, Michigan. Growing up in a musical family, Suzi was surrounded by music and songs from an early age. Her father, Art Quatro, was a part-time musician who led a jazz band, while her mother, Helen, supported her kids' love for the arts. Suzi and her brothers and sisters, including her sister, Patty Quatro, who also became a musician, were deeply into music. As a child, Suzi learned to play piano and drums, but by the age of 14, she found her true love, the bass guitar. She was drawn to the deep thumping sound of the instrument and made it her own. She got really good at it with the same energy and confidence that would later make her famous. In 1964, Suzi and her sisters formed an all-girl band called the Pleasure Seekers, which became one of the first female rock groups to get attention in the United States. They played covers of popular songs and wrote their own music, touring across the country and recording singles like Never Thought You'd Leave Me. The band's popularity set Suzi on the path towards being a star. In the late 1960s, they changed into a new group called Cradle, a heavier, more experimental rock band that showed Suzi's growing confidence as a lead singer and bass player. It was during this time that her powerful stage presence and unique voice began to get attention, including that of British record producer Mickie Most, who signed her to RAK Records and invited her to move to England. When Suzi arrived in the UK in 1971, she was stepping into a whole new musical world, the heart of the glam rock movement. Even though she was a young American woman in a foreign music business, she quickly proved herself. Her first single, Can the Can 1973, became a huge hit, reaching #1 in several countries, including the UK, Germany, and Australia. The song's rough, energetic style and Suzi's confident, raspy voice made her a new kind of rock star. Not just a performer, but someone who broke barriers. Her other hits such as 48 Crash, Devil Gate Drive, The Wild One, and If You Can't Give Me Love made her status as a worldwide superstar solid. Her music mixed powerful rock beats with catchy songs, and her look, dressed in tight leather, holding a bass guitar, became famous. What made Suzi Quattro so game-changing was not only her sound, but her presence. She didn't fit the usual picture of a typical female performer of her time. She wasn't a quiet pop singer or someone in the background. Instead, she owned the stage. With the same power and coolness as the male rockers, proving that women could rock just as hard and often harder. She inspired countless artists who came after her, including Joan Jett, Debbie Harry, Tina Weymouth, and Chrissie Hynde, all of whom have said she was a major influence on them. Quattro's work went beyond her chart-topping singles. She opened the door for the rise of women in rock bands and gave visibility to female musicians playing instruments in a time when they were rarely seen. In addition to her music career, Suzi also became a familiar face on television. In the late 1970s, she appeared on the hit American sitcom Happy Days, where she played Leather Tuscadero, a tough, talented rock musician and the sister of Pinky Tuscadero. Her role showed her natural charm and brought her into the homes of millions of viewers who might not have known her from her rock career. Her appearance on Happy Days made her a pop culture icon, proving that she could cross over from music to acting without losing her edge or being fake. Throughout the decades, Suzi continued to record and perform, proving that her love for music was not lessened by time. She released many albums including Suzi and Other Four-Letter Words, Agrophobia, and No Control, each one showing her changing artistry and lifelong love for rock and roll. She toured all over, captivating audiences across Europe, Australia, and beyond, often performing for fans who had grown up with her music, as well as new generations discovering her for the first time. Suzi Quattro's personal life has been as exciting and eventful as her groundbreaking career in rock and roll in 1976. At the height of her fame, she married her longtime guitarist and musical partner, Len Tucky, a partnership that mixed both romance and rock. Tucky had played a big role in her touring band and creative process, contributing to her signature sound that mixed glam rock, punk energy, and bluesy grit. Their marriage represented a deep connection rooted in music, passion, and mutual respect for the craft. Together, they became one of the most well-known power couples in the British rock scene of the late 1970s and early 1980s. However, the pressures of constant touring, fame, and the challenges of balancing personal and professional lives eventually took their toll. Despite their shared successes and love for their children, the marriage came to an end in 1992 after 16 years together. A difficult but friendly split that Quatro has since talked about with grace and understanding. During their years together, Quatro and Tucky built a family and a home that became a foundation of stability amid the chaos of show business. They welcomed 2 children whom Suzi has always described as the center of her world. Determined to give them a sense of normal life, she kept a balance between her life on stage and her role as a mother. In 1980, the couple bought a beautiful manor house near Chelmsford in Essex, England, a property that would remain an important part of Quattro's life for decades. Nestled in the countryside, the manor served as both a getaway from the public eye and a creative place where she could write, compose, and recharge. It became a place of family memories, birthdays, Christmases, and quiet evenings spent away from the roar of the crowd. Even after her divorce from Tucky, Quatro continued to live there with her children, keeping it as a symbol of family continuity and independence. In 1993, Suzi Quattro's life took another turn when she married Rainer Haas, a well-respected German concert promoter. Haas's world of music promotion went well with Suzi's lifelong dedication to performing, and their relationship opened new personal and professional chapters for her. Their marriage also made her connection to Europe stronger, especially Germany, where she had long enjoyed a devoted fan base. Quatro found in Haas both friendship and encouragement to continue growing as an artist. Together, they managed a life that balanced her English roots, her American heritage, and her European stardom. By 2006, Quattro's family ties once again got deeper at the Essex Manor when her daughter and grandchild moved back in, filling the house with youthful energy and laughter. The return of multiple generations under one roof reminded Suzi of the importance of home, continuity, and love. Despite her global fame, she has always loved her role as a mother and grandmother above all else. Yet, as life moved forward, change was bound to happen. Toward the end of 2008, her children eventually moved out to pursue their own paths, leaving Quatro once again in an empty house. She said she felt the sadness of empty nest syndrome, a feeling familiar to many parents watching their children step into the world. For a short period, she even considered selling the manor, showing a moment of transition and thinking deeply in her life. In the end, Suzi Quattro chose to keep the home, recognizing its deep emotional importance. Today, she continues to split her time between Essex, Hamburg, and Detroit, the 3 cities that show her rich, multi-layered identity. Essex represents her quiet home life and English career roots. Hamburg connects her to her European fan base and her husband's cultural background, and Detroit remains her birthplace, a reminder of the city that first gave rise to her rock and roll dreams. Living across these 3 places allows her to stay close to the people and places that have shaped her amazing journey. Even now, Suzi Quattro keeps a perfect balance between her private world and her life as an enduring icon. A woman who has proven that true rock legends never really slow down, they simply change. At 75 years old, Suzi Quattro, the legendary rock and roll trailblazer known for her leather jumpsuits, powerful bass lines, and bold attitude, has once again made headlines, this time by revealing some surprising truths about her time on the hit television series Happy Days. The news has sent waves through both the music and television worlds as fans who loved her as Leather Tuscadero finally got to hear the real story straight from the icon herself. For decades, her time on Happy Days was remembered as one of the most exciting crossovers between rock music and primetime television. But now, Quatro has opened up about the behind-the-scenes reality of what it was really like, the challenges, the pressure, and the unforgettable friendships that shaped that chapter of her life. When I first got the call about Happy Days, Suzi explained, I honestly thought it was a joke I was a full-time rock musician, touring the world, playing bass, and living out of a suitcase. Acting on a sitcom was the last thing on my mind. But when I heard the role was a tough girl rocker named Leather Tuscadero, I thought, well, that's basically me. Quattro's laugh carried a mix of fondness and nostalgia as she described how the role was made for her. Yet, she admitted that she had to fight hard to prove herself to the producers and to some of the cast members who weren't sure if a real rock star could handle scripted television. They thought I'd show up and not know how to act, she said. But I took it seriously. I studied, practiced, and made sure that Leather was real. Not just some fake version of a rocker. I wanted her to be believable. The character of Leather Tuscadero quickly became a fan favorite, a confident, independent woman who led her own band and didn't take nonsense from anyone, especially the men in the male-dominated entertainment world of the 1970s. This was a bold and rare portrayal. I didn't realize it at the time, Suzi thought back. But Leather represented something really important for young women. She wasn't somebody's girlfriend. She was her own person with her own talent, her own music, her own dreams. A lot of girls wrote to me back then saying, "You showed me that I could be strong too." That meant everything to me. But her time on Happy Days wasn't always easy. What people don't know, she revealed, is that I was dealing with tiredness from touring while filming the show. I'd fly in from London, shoot for a week, and then go back on the road. There were times when I barely slept. I loved the experience, but it almost broke me physically. Suzi also admitted that she sometimes had trouble balancing her identity as a serious musician with her growing image as a television personality. I didn't want to be seen as a novelty act. She said I was a musician before I was an actress, and I didn't want the TV role to overshadow that. I wanted to keep my credibility in the rock world. Quatro also told about her interactions with the Happy Days cast, including Henry Winkler, who played the iconic Fonzie. Henry was a sweetheart, she said warmly. He made me feel welcome from day one. We had great chemistry, and that made filming so much fun. But I was also a bit scared because everyone on set was so polished, so professional. I was this rock chick walking into their world. She paused, then smiled. But you know what? By the end, I felt like family. We all had so much respect for each other. Despite her positive memories, Suzi also said that she turned down multiple offers to return to Happy Days full-time. They wanted to make Leather a regular character, she said. But I couldn't do it. My heart was on stage, not in front of a studio audience every week. I had to follow the music. That's where I belonged. Looking back now, she doesn't regret the decision. It was the right call, she added. I love that Leather came in, made her mark, and then rode off into the sunset. That's how I like to remember her. Fierce, free, and unforgettable. Suzi Quattro's thoughts on Happy Days are more than just a nostalgic trip down memory lane. They offer a look into the toughness and realness that have defined her entire career. Even now, she continues to perform, record, and inspire new generations of musicians. People always ask if I'd do Happy Days again, she wondered. And I tell them, Leather never really left. She's still a part of me every time I walk on stage. With her trademark honesty and charm, Suzi Quattro's shocking truth about Happy Days isn't a scandal. It's a story of hard work, passion, and staying true to yourself. At 75, she remains as bold and real as ever. A true rock pioneer who refused to be boxed in, whether by Hollywood scripts or what society expected of her. as she summed it up best herself. "I've always lived by one rule: be yourself, even if it shocks a few people along the way.